My girlfriend said, "I need space. Let's just be friends." I replied, "Sure." Then I removed her name from joint subscriptions, reclaimed her car keys, and changed our Netflix password. 72 hours later, she was knocking desperately on my door. I'm a 32-year-old man sitting in a quiet apartment for the first time in 4 years. It's strange. Not bad, just quiet. 2 nights ago, my girlfriend of 4 years, Ara, 29, sat me down on the sofa we picked out together. She had that look on her face, serious, but distant. My stomach dropped. "I think we need to talk," she began. Clache, I know. She spoke for about 10 minutes about personal growth, feeling stifled, and needing to find herself again. It was a well-rehearsed speech, full of therapy language and vague platitudes. The conclusion came with a soft, almost pitying smile. "I think we should just be friends. I need some space. I've seen this before, I've read the posts. The usual response is to get emotional, to plead, to ask what I did wrong. And yeah, it hurt. A dull, heavy punch to the gut. But as I looked at her, listening to that rehearsed sincerity, something just clicked. This wasn't a discussion, it was a decision. So I didn't cry, I didn't raise my voice. I just nodded slowly and said, "Okay, if that's what you want." She looked surprised. "Oh, well, good. I'm glad you're being so mature about this." She said she'd stay at her friend Chloe's place for a few days to give us both space. She packed a small bag, gave me a brief, awkward hug, and left. The moment the door closed, I exhaled a breath I hadn't realized I was holding. The pain was still there, a steady ache in my chest. But underneath it was a strange clarity. She wanted to be friends. Okay. So I decided to treat the situation according to the reality she defined. We were no longer partners, we were friends. That meant our lives needed to be separated. I'm a methodical person. I like lists. I opened my laptop and made one. Shared subscriptions. I checked my credit card statements. The main ones were easy. Netflix, Spotify Family Plan, and the meal kit delivery service we both used. I own all the accounts. I changed the passwords. Then I removed her profile from Spotify. As for the meal kit, I canceled it. It was due to renew the next day anyway. That saves about $110 a month. The car. This was the big one. About 2 years ago, Ara's old car broke down. Around that time, I got a promotion, so I bought a new reliable sedan. Everything is in my name. The title, the loan, the insurance. She was the primary driver since I work from home and rarely use it. In practice, it was her car, but legally, it's mine. A friend doesn't drive a car that I'm fully responsible for. The insurance risk alone is too much. I texted her, calm, direct, not emotional. "Hey, since we're taking space and figuring things out as friends, I'll need the car back. The insurance situation is complicated if a non-resident is the main driver. Let me know when I can pick up the keys. I can come to you. The apartment. We live in my apartment. My name is the only one on the lease." She moved in 2 years ago. No legal complications there, which is a relief. I didn't change the locks. I figured I'd give her time to collect her things like a normal person. I did all of this calmly over about an hour. It wasn't about revenge. It was about boundaries. It was about accepting the new reality she chose. If we're just friends, then this is what being just friends looks like. I sent the text about the car 48 hours ago. She read it. No reply. The meal kit service emailed her that the subscription was canceled. She would have found out about Netflix and Spotify the first time she tried to log in. Silence. Until now. There's a knock at the door. Not a normal knock, fast, sharp, insistent. I know it's her, and from the sound of it, she's not here to be my friend. I take a deep breath, walk to the door, and look through the peephole. Yup, Ara. She looks disheveled, hair messy, face tight with irritation. I open the door. "What the hell is your problem?" she snaps. Not even a hello. I lean against the frame. "I'm not sure what you mean, Ara. My Spotify logged me out in the middle of a song. Netflix isn't working, and now you're asking for the car back. What are you doing?" I keep my tone steady. "I'm doing what you asked. You said you wanted space, that you wanted to be friends. Friends don't share streaming accounts or cover each other's car expenses. I'm just organizing things." She stares at me, slightly stunned, like I just spoke in another language. Organizing things, I said I needed space, not for you to blow up our entire life. I needed that car for work tomorrow. I understand it's inconvenient, I say, and I do. But the car is my responsibility, legally and financially. I can't have someone who doesn't live here using it as their primary vehicle. It's an insurance issue. You can come get your things from the apartment whenever you want. Just give me a heads up so I can be here. That's when the entitlement really showed. Your things? We live here. And that's my car. You bought it for me. I bought it while we were in a committed relationship. I corrected her calmly. That relationship is over. According to you, we are friends now. This is me treating you like a friend. She threw her hands up. This is ridiculous. This isn't how you treat a friend. This is petty and vindictive. My God. Leo was right about you. There it was. The name hung in the air. Leo, her coworker. The one she'd been going out for drinks with a little too often over the past 2 months. The one whose name kept appearing on her phone at all hours. My instincts had been warning me about Leo for weeks, but I ignored them. I trusted her. Something must have flickered across my face because she immediately tried to backtrack. That's not what I meant. Who's Leo, Ira? I asked quietly. He's just a friend from work. He's been really supportive through all of this. All of what? Your decision to end our 4-year relationship. You're twisting my words, she snapped. I just needed a break, some space, and you go and do all this. You're trying to control me, just like he said you would. So that was it. This new guy, Leo, had been in her ear painting me as controlling, setting the stage so he could step in. And she, wanting the excitement of something new without losing the comfort and stability I provided, came up with this "let's be friends" idea. She thought she could put me on hold, keep using my car, my apartment, my money, while she explored something else. The audacity was staggering. I held out my hand, the car keys. She looked from my hand to my face, disbelief and anger in her eyes. She scoffed. No, I need it. I'll ask you one more time, nicely. Please give me the keys to my car. She crossed her arms. And what are you going to do if I don't? Call the cops? That would be a great look for you. I didn't hesitate. Okay. I pulled out my phone. I didn't call 911. Instead, I opened the car's official app. I located the vehicle. It was parked just down the street. With 3 taps, I locked the doors remotely and activated the alarm. The horn started blaring, a sharp, relentless noise cutting through the quiet evening. Her eyes widened. People on the street turned to look. What did you do? She shouted. The car is now locked and the alarm is on. It will keep going until I turn it off. The next step is reporting it stolen. It's in my name, remember? They'll find you with it, and that will be a very awkward conversation for you. So for the last time, the keys. She stared at me, breathing hard. The alarm continued wailing in the distance. Finally, defeated and humiliated, she dug into her purse, her movements sharp and angry, and slammed the keys into my hand. I tapped my phone, and the alarm stopped. The sudden silence was deafening. Now, I said, my voice cold, you need to get your things. You have 48 hours to arrange a time with me. After that, I'm changing the locks. She looked at me with pure hatred. Without another word, she turned and stormed down the sidewalk. I watched her leave, then closed the door. My hands were shaking, not from fear, but from adrenaline. This wasn't just a breakup anymore. It had become something else entirely. And I had a feeling it wasn't over. Update 2. The past week has been a masterclass in escalating entitlement and delusion. I feel like I've been dropped into a movie I never signed up for. The 48-hour deadline passed. Ara didn't call or text. Just silence. So I followed through. I called a locksmith and had the apartment locks changed. It cost $250, but the peace of mind was worth it. I also installed a small discreet security camera in the living room aimed at the front door. Something told me it would be a good investment. The day after I changed the locks, the first move came. I got a call from my credit card company's fraud department. Someone had tried to report my card as stolen. They made it through the automated system, but failed some of the security questions. which flagged the attempt. I confirmed I still had the card, and they added extra security measures to my account. The second move was more serious, and it happened 2 days later. I received a calendar invite from HR for a mandatory meeting. The subject line read, "Follow-up conversation." My boss, Mark, and an HR representative named Susan were both included. My stomach tightened into a knot. I walked into the small conference room. They were already there, both looking serious. This wasn't going to be a casual conversation. Susan spoke first, her tone calm and professional. "Thanks for coming in. We've received an anonymous communication containing some serious allegations about your conduct outside of work. Under company policy, we are required to inform you and discuss it." She turned her laptop toward me. It was an email from a burner account sent to her and Mark. It described me as unstable, controlling, prone to aggressive outbursts, and accused me of harassing my former partner. It was clearly meant to portray me as a liability at work. My blood ran cold, but I forced myself to stay composed. I read it, took a breath, and looked at them. "Susan, Mark, this is deeply mortifying," I began. "My girlfriend and I broke up last week. It hasn't been amicable. This email is a malicious and false retaliation because I took back my car and canceled shared subscriptions after she ended things. The person described in that email is not me." Mark, who had been silent, leaned forward. "Susan, I've managed him for 4 years. He's one of my most level-headed team members. We've dealt with tight deadlines and difficult clients, and I've never seen anything but professionalism from him. This email is the complete opposite of the employee I know." Susan nodded, listening, then looked back at me. "Do you think this will escalate it further? Is there any risk of it affecting the workplace?" "No," I said firmly. "I've taken steps to secure my home and finances. I believe this was an act of desperation on her part. It won't happen again, and it won't impact my work." Susan closed the laptop. "All right. We're documenting this incident and your response. Given your work history and Mark's input, we are treating this as a malicious personal matter. We don't see a need for further action at this time. But we wanted to be transparent. The Employee Assistance Program is available if you need support." I left the meeting shaken but relieved. She had tried to go after my livelihood. This wasn't a game anymore. That night, the camera I installed proved its worth. Around 11 p.m., I received a motion alert on my phone. I opened the live feed, my heart pounding, and watched as the doorknob slowly turned. Someone was trying to use a key. It rattled, stopped, then a few seconds later, tried again. It was Ara. When the key didn't work, she stood there for a full minute, staring at the door before finally leaving. I saved the footage. That was the final straw. She had tried to damage my job. She had tried to enter my home. This was no longer about being the bigger person. This was about protecting myself. I needed something decisive, something that would cut the final tie and reveal the truth in a way she couldn't twist. Then I thought of her parents. Ira's parents, David and Karen, are good people, practical, straightforward, no nonsense. They always liked me. When I bought the car, they had generously given us $5,000 toward the down payment, a gift meant to support our future together. I hesitated. It felt like crossing a line. But she had crossed many more. I wrote a message to her father. "Hi, David. I hope you and Karen are well. I'm reaching out because, as you may or may not ken, Ara, and I have ended our relationship. I'm making arrangements to sell the sedan, and I want to return the $5,000 you both generously contributed. It doesn't feel right to keep it under these circumstances. What's the best way to get that back to you?" I sent it. Less than 5 minutes later, my phone lit up. "David, what are you talking about? David, what are you talking about? Ara told us you two just had a small fight. Call me." I took a breath and dialed. Everything was about to change. Final update. It's over. Truly, finally over. The past few weeks have felt like a slow-motion explosion, and I am only now stepping out of the blast radius. The call with David was tense. I laid everything out calmly and factually: the breakup, the car, the subscriptions, the email to my boss, and finally the video of her trying my door. I offered to send proof. There was a long pause. "Karen and I are coming down," he said, his voice tight. We need to understand what's happening. We'll be there tomorrow. The next day, they arrived at my apartment. They looked exhausted and worried. Karen was holding back tears, and David's expression was grim. They were polite, but distant. I could tell they were torn, wanting to believe their daughter, but faced with serious accusations. We just want the full picture, Karen said softly. Ara is our daughter. She's very upset and says you're misinterpreting everything. I understand, I replied. Words can be misinterpreted. Videos are harder to argue with. I showed them the footage from my camera on my laptop. I watched their expressions as they saw their daughter quietly trying to use a key on my door late at night. Karen covered her mouth. David's face hardened. I want to believe there's an explanation for this, David said, though his voice lacked conviction. Then let's ask her, I suggested. I took out my phone. Why don't you call her right now? Put it on speaker. David looked at me, then at Karen, and nodded. He dialed. Hi, Dad. Her voice came through, sounding cheerful. Too cheerful. Ara, David said, his tone flat. Your mother and I are at his apartment. The silence on her end was immediate. What? Why? He's shown us a video of you from last night trying to get into his apartment with an old key. I need you to explain that right now. What? That's crazy. I was just checking on him. I was worried, she stammered, panic creeping into her voice. You were worried at 11 p.m. using a key you shouldn't have, without calling or knocking. David pressed. He's twisting things. He's trying to make me look bad. He stole my car, she shouted, her voice rising into hysteria. He's offering to return the $5,000 we gave you for it. David replied coldly. Something you failed to mention. Just like you failed to mention that you were dumped, not just having a small fight. What is going on, Ara? Her story unraveled completely. Liv on speakerphone. She began crying, accusing deflecting. It was a complete mess. David finally cut her off. We'll talk about this later. Do not go anywhere. He ended the call and looked at me, his face marked by anger and deep embarrassment. I apologize, he said. They told her to come to the apartment. When she arrived 20 minutes later and saw them, her face drained of color. The final confrontation wasn't loud. It was methodical. Her parents, now armed with the facts and her own incriminating call, calmly dismantled everything. Her lies about staying with Chloe, about Leo being just a friend, about me being the problem. It all came out. The consequences were quiet and severe. Her parents told her they were ashamed of her dishonesty. They demanded she repay the $5,000 herself and cut off any further financial support. She was instructed, to arrange the removal of her belongings within 48 hours. Without their help, she was on her own. Ara sat there, completely deflated. The fight was gone. Her plan had been built on lies, and I had simply removed the foundation. A professional moving company, likely paid for with a credit card, arrived the next day. She stayed in the truck while they quickly and impersonally packed up her things. Selling the car took about 2 weeks. I received a few low offers before an online dealership gave me a fair price. They picked it up from my building's parking lot yesterday. As soon as the funds cleared, I transferred the $5,000 to David and Karen. David's reply was brief. We are deeply sorry for all of this. We wish you the best. I've blocked Ara, Leo, and anyone connected to them. I don't know what their situation is, and the most freeing part is, I genuinely don't care. The quiet in my apartment no longer feels strange. It feels like peace. It's the sound of a chapter in my life, one filled with drama I never asked for, finally, mercifully, coming to an end.